Okay, this is a rainy crit at Toad Downer Avenue. And we're going to talk about how to race in a rainy crit. It's going to be tough. Look at these lines that people are taking. They're trying to avoid paint marks and that sort of manhole cover, which gets very slick in the wet, and then they're sprinting. And the thing about rainy crits is that corners, people go very slow because they don't want to crash, and then they sprint as hard as they can out of it, and it just becomes a very hard race. There's no way around it. Rainy crits are hard. Now, you're going to want to just try to stay in this front bubble, basically, when you're in this situation. You can see here, people are already kind of having difficulties or whatever, crashing or something, and then you get caught behind that. Now you're sprinting out of that corner to just stay in that front group and not get dropped, and that's why rainy crits are so hard. I mean, yeah, you can lower your tire pressure quite a lot to see if you can get some more traction. Things are slippery still, but it's a lot of sprinting out of corners that go really slow. And then even if you're in the front group, I mean, if you're in the front, you can see here, it's just stretched out. They were drilling it. Whoever was at the front, I think some of the Boulder Junior guys were, they were hitting it really hard on the front and stretching it out in the beginning, which is how you're supposed to do it if you're on a team, because people are going to get dropped. You can see here, I'm already almost losing contact with that front group. People are taking odd lines like this. And then gaps are opening up, and I'm having to sprint just to stay in that front group and not get dropped. Luckily, this guy comes around, puts in a good effort, and that's why these rainy crits are tough. I mean, you got to stay in that front group enough that you don't get dropped off and you get caught behind gaps. And if you don't do that, then it's basically going to be race over for you. So here you can see I make contact again with that front group, but it's a lot of sprinting. And if you're in the very front of the race, it can be slightly easier because then you kind of have your own line selection. And you're still going to want to drill it in the front if you're in this rainy crit situation, because then it makes the rest of it hard. And then a lot of the guys in this field dropped off by the end of this race. And you can see here, I'm getting tired a little bit. I let some guys filter in, and people are starting, especially in this particular spot. If I lay down a little bit more power back in this spot, maybe it would have done okay, but I lose a lot of positions in this specific location. I'm not exactly sure why. If you keep pedaling, even just any sort of pedaling power, you can avoid stuff like this where there's a big crash and you get stuck behind. I put a foot down here because it was just all over the place. I didn't know what I was going to fall into, and basically that allows you to have a free lap. I mean, I don't know why these guys are biking through it as if they could just like Tetris it, but when you have a crash like this that's all over the road, it is absolutely your right to take the free lap. You should be taking the free lap. Otherwise, that's your race. I mean, people were dodging around that. And so I wasn't about to just guess if I'm going to survive through that crash. I'm going to put my foot down and say free lap. Gives you time to drink some water. It gives you some time to take a gel. Just catch your breath. I mean, this is the rules of crit racing. Luckily, it gives me a little bit of time to recover. And also, I avoided the crash. So if you're in a rainy crit like this and you get caught behind it, put the foot down. Always take the free lap. That is the rule. Always do it. Now, we get placed back in the field, still closer to the back here, but you can see here it's just going to be the continuous game of sprinting out of that corner. People taking wide lines like that, people taking odd lines, and then from there it's just a battle of survival. Now, unfortunately, I think in this race specifically, it took a toll on me. The constant sprinting, it takes a toll on me to the point where like I really should have been making some decisions later in this race that I just couldn't make, and I was kind of down on myself. You'll see here in a minute why, but look at this gap. I have to close this gap. I mean, I am putting a ton of energy. From all the clips you've already seen, I had to close this down. You can see there's another guy that I have to pass, and that just takes a toll on you to the point where at the end of the race, where you need to make the moves to get closer to the front to put yourself in a race winning position, you're just unable to. And after this race, I was really hard on myself, because you're going to see in a second, there was an ample opportunity. 4 laps to go. You can see on the lap counter there. Look at this. It eases up, and I should be sprinting. I should follow that wheel. This really ate at me. Yeah, it was hard. Maybe my body couldn't do it, but look, everyone is easing up. I could have gotten up into the front position with 3 or 4 laps to go here. I think 4, and gotten into a race winning position, and I didn't take it. Now, compromise. Yes, I was tired. It was tough, but the thing is I need a mantra. Basically, you need something to say, do it. Why are you here if you don't? At least try, because now I'm off the back and I'm not going to win this race. And there's a crash again here in the last lap, and that's problematic. But basically, if you don't try, even if you blow up, I mean, at least I would have tried. So remember this, if you're in that position where you think it's too tough, there's a sense in which there's a comfort limit and then there's an ability limit. If you're comfortable, if you're going above your comfort limit, that's okay. But most people kind of have that disconnect. You need to have an ability limit, and most people's ability limit is actually higher than their comfort limit. I should have tried to make that attempt, and I didn't, because my comfort limit was just, I was uncomfortable, when in reality, I might have had the ability to do so. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned a thing or two. Subscribe, and you'll see some more videos like this.